Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and map number 2 of this best of 3 between two awesome Terran players. Game 1 saw us in a 30-minute extravaganza of Terran v Terran, mech on mech. Now we've got game number 2. Daedalus Point is going to be the host and spawning to the top left. He's currently down a game, needing to win this to stay in this series and stay in this tournament. He represents Alien Invasion, none other than Stelok. And his opponent, to the lower right, the red Terran player, representing Team Acer, one win away from advancing into the semi-finals, MMA. Game 1 saw both players go for an aggressive mech style of play. So much harassment. If I remember correctly, it was like 90 plus workers killed by Stelok and 40 plus workers killed by MMA. It was borderline genocide against SCBs that game. But who's going to be able to take the series? Both players opening slightly differently. MMA squeezing out another SCV before actually beginning on his refinery, so he's got slightly later gas. That means that Stelok is going to be capable of starting up a Reaper very soon in order to scout and harass. That's precisely what he's going to be doing. Meanwhile, MMA will push out a Marine first. Not necessarily a bad thing. May not actually see MMA go into Reapers now. Generally, if you're going to go for a Reaper, you'll get it out super fast. Potentially just going to be a quick reactor or something like that for MMA. Putting a bunker down on this low ground here just to prevent too much from really happening. Actually, accounts for coming down there. What did MMA see that made him change his mind? Okay, so MMA saw that the barracks was down there. He knew that there wasn't any super early things coming through. But yeah, as expected, MMA begins up that reactor right on cue. Getting chased back by Stelok's SCV. And Stelok going to be going out for an expansion very fast. MMA, 2 Marines, waiting patiently to deter the Reaper aggression. The SCV probably will die here. The Reaper going to look to come up. MMA gets the first few shots off though, forcing it back while taking his natural base up in the main. The Marines pushing down now, going to try and catch this Reaper off guard, and do catch it off guard. Snipe it off nice and quick. Good control there by MMA, who starts up his factory simultaneously as Stelok does the same. Both of these two in game number 1 were very, very close for a lot of the game. Advantages on both sides. And for the most part, we're seeing a similar story game number 2. Stelok, if he's able to continue with that great harassment we saw game number 1 again in this map, I think he's got a good chance. Nice play by MMA though, gonna snipe down that SCV before the command center finishes, and this adds in quite a surprisingly large block to how long until that comes down. And also MMA coming in from the flank now with a couple of Marines of his own, doesn't quite manage to secure the kill. He knows that he's gonna have the Marine advantage due to not getting a Reaper out early. Doesn't yet have to contend with any Hellions, but they will be coming. Instead, just hoping for a little bit of damage down onto this command center. 2 more Marines on their way across. And this is not terrifying to Stelok, but it's inconvenient is probably the best way to describe it. Waiting for additional Hellions before trying to deal with this, but MMA just pulling back. If he spreads his Marines, he won't have any concern to dealing with this. Just needs to be careful not to line them up and get hit by all of them. His own Hellions now coming through as well. And Stelok going to be forced to retreat back with his natural base. So while he got it down earlier, MMA has been able to force him to waste a lot of mining time, force a delay in it, and now actually pulling it back reduces the amount of SCV time that he's going to have producing. So even though MMA built his in his main, he's actually getting the better economy and soft containing Stelok at the moment. A repair being forced as well. The Orbital Command looking to actually come back down, but the Marines still there. Stelok not going to be able to take that. Takes a bit more damage. MMA being cautious not to move too far forward. There's a lot of Hellions here, and the damage is going to try and start coming through. MMA repositions a lot of his units, but a nice line up there allows Stelok to get some great damage down. MMA does still have all of his Hellions in position though. The trades going fairly equal. MMA with that medevac able to heal up his Marines. A repair from Stelok as a bit of an emergency maneuver. He's got to be very careful. Does not have many units here yet. Blue Flame is not down. MMA picks up and backs out though after that repair. The Hellions for Stelok would be too strong. However, MMA is now in a very good position. He's been able to mule at his natural base longer, produce 2 SCVs for longer, and also just have that income for longer. The net result is that MMA is now up by nearly 10 workers, which is huge at this stage. His income pretty much double that of his opponents, and at this early stage it's incredibly powerful. A counter push coming from Stelok, but not going to be able to breach up here. The landed Viking, incredibly effective against the Hellions due to being armoured. With the bunker coming down, those Marines will be safer soon too. Blue Flame is finished now for Stelok, so his Hellions are going to be hitting a lot harder than MMA's. But it's not the end of the world by any means. Engineering Bay coming down, just filling up this wall as fast as possible. MMA also opting for his 3rd CC, but with the Banshee now coming forward, Stelok has pretty much no way to deal with that. Interestingly, MMA ignoring all those Hellions and just going for the straight up damage. And this is a smart choice because the anti-air currently for Stelok is nothing. He doesn't even have an engineering base. He can't make a missile turret. He has no Marines. Frantically trying to get a Viking out, but with Cloak nearly done, this Banshee is gonna have free reign. This mass commitment to Blue Flame Hellions means that anti-air doesn't exist. A quick Cloak on the Banshee, a second Viking coming through, but SCVs are going to start falling. This is great news for MMA and terrible news for Stelok. Just missing the fact that these Banshee were a threat, or that the Banshee could be coming. Using a scan, which again reduces the amount of energy he's got to mule, hurting his economy, but also not getting the kill. The Banshee able to turn around, come back in, pick up a couple more kills, probably. Another scan is available at the natural base, gonna have to be used. And the Banshee won't be able to get away, so just racks up as many kills as possible. But Stelok now going for the damage, dropping some Hellions up into the main base. MMA takes a few losses, but it's nothing compared to what Stelok's lost. GG is called, and MMA is able to take the series 2-0 with a much faster second game. Congratulations to him, and he advances on to the semi-finals.